Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to the beautiful empowered harmonizers, and we're zooming in and focusing in on what I feel is a very important video topic. And this is something that I had covered earlier, but I had accidentally deleted the video, which I had ascribed a lot of condensed material, and I had just realized that. So I wanted to revisit that in this video. And that is understanding the full spectrum of emotions that come in a healthy relationship, including having fun. Now, in like Pete Walker's book, he talks about, whether we have to be like over bubbling with joy, just exaltation in the happiest of moments, that everything is promoted like that in advertising, movies, things of this nature where just that romantic love is extolled, or a virtue of what an ideal should look like. And people oftentimes feel that they fall short or they're not good enough if they don't have that, or they're quote unquote not that in their life. So I really want to discuss that and zoom in and focus in on that in this video, because how you have fun is up to you. So you might not be having to be leaping 10 feet off the floor, rolling around in the sand, getting a massage on the beach or whatever it is to be happy or fulfilled in a relationship. Oftentimes there are so many images set up in advertising and media that give us like the yardstick, the guidepost, the goalpost for which we should strive to attain, when really your happiness should be that much more real or authentic within you. And oftentimes, because people oftentimes feel that they have failed in relationships, or they keep attracting the dysfunctional, that they sort of give up on having fun, especially, if not alone, but with other people, and realize that it's so important that to learn the lessons of your previous relationships to see where things were out of balance. For example, if you were engaging in kind of excessive monologuing with a narcissist. In other words, always asking about them, conforming to their standards, trying to fit into and guess what they want out of a person, rather than just being free to be yourself and having fun. Just, and not kind of caving into the pressures of what you feel that this person might want you to be. It's just like being, is starting with yourself. And having that source of fun, and knowing what that is within yourself, so you can have that and return to that, and you don't feel that it can be lost on another, where people tend to overgive to another, over obligate. And this can become, in what Pete Walker in his book, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving, talks about, that's how people become, perpetuate feeling lost or feeling unacknowledged, is to engage in that habit in relationships where all you do is ask about the other person. You never want to talk about yourself. You can't receive compliments. It becomes very uncomfortable for you when someone opens up the door or gives you, asks you about yourself. So as I was stating in a previous video, and I apologize that it had been deleted, but we talk about your comfort zone, oftentimes, which is your failure zone, meaning that if you're not challenging yourself to have fun, and then that is, going to perpetuate the feeling of loneliness, isolation, feeling like, woe is me, the pity party. And so, it's important to be able to shed off that lower spectrum, that lower vibration of feelings, and just say, okay, what is that is done, and then look at, the history as a sort of nostalgic, and then enter into those challenging states where you become a little bit aware that, hey, maybe I can go out and do this, or I can go out and make this, or I can go out and become part of this group, or I can go out and get some new books or videos or things that can expand me, and sort of begin to move the envelope along a little bit for yourself. Even if it's inch by inch, those baby steps, with repetition and experience, you will begin to arrive at and enjoy fun again, and not feel guilty about then sharing that and knowing that when you're with people, because oftentimes that is what has been so blocking and so stifling, is that you are not permitted to have fun. Pete Walker in his book talks about how intimidating a narcissist can be. In other words, they tend to scoff at you when you express yourself. And the little scoffs tend to, especially for the very vulnerable or people-pleasing or the fawn types, they tend to shut down very quickly. They tend to tolerate it. They tend to stay in relationships that are intimidating to them, that they feel like they're kind of off the mark and they're always kind of running to please this person or be on mark for them. Ready. Everything is always ready, set, go. And then there's these high moments of thrill and exhilaration, and then it's done. It's this very up and down, and it can be very difficult to sustain. And so when you look at the spectrum of emotions and what love is, it doesn't have to always be, what they show in the movies or the advertisements. It's like getting real with yourself so you can get real with others, and being able to expand and become more comfortable with a broader array of feelings that love relationships or healthy relationships can have. It might feel a little bit more easygoing. It might feel a little bit more mellow. You might have found your sense of humor and being able to use your sense of humor versus just trying to always appear physically attractive or intellectually attractive or whatever it is that you have tried to portend yourself. Maybe it's time to change your approach or change what you expect out of relationships, and to realize that maybe you can be attracted to different types of people that are healthier, even if it contradicts your history or your truth, which perhaps you have then had, patterned within you from your early age. And so, when you look at your comfort zone and where you're really kind of staying stifled, that can also equate to your failure zone, meaning that you're not really going out and doing some little things for yourself, doing and opening yourself up to people who can be healthy, and kind of, I don't want to say exhausting yourself, but giving yourself a chance to explore and see if you can't be pleasantly surprised. But it has to be for you. It has to be authentic. It has to be what you want. And no one in this world is telling you, what or how many relationships that you should have. But it's learning to identify and be attracted to those relationships that have a healthy foundation versus the unhealthy. The more fun, authentic versus the toxic and, people-pleasing sort of submissive roles that perhaps you have found yourself in. It's okay to be a little bit of an equal or on your own steady footing, meaning you're a little bit of a leader. You're able to talk about yourself. You're able to share yourself without breaking down, without saying, my life was a blur. I had this and this happen. Everything is negative. It's working through that first. So you practice this on your recovery dates. You reinforce it with your recovery gifts, so it keeps a positive cycle going, and then you complete that cycle. And I feel so bad because that video that I had shared was really it in a nutshell. I'm trying to recap and remember the topics that we had discussed. But I think it's so important, like that song, "Come on, baby, finish what you've started. I'm incomplete." Meaning, if you apply that, whatever that means, of course, but if you apply that to yourself, in other words, you've begun the healing journey. Why don't you complete that cycle? Have the commitment where you're actually feeling a sense of closure and, finishing that cycle instead of leaving that crevice open for the hurt to come back, for the toxicity to come back. Why not heal it for good? Why not let go of those, boredom feelings and defeat feelings? And why don't you embrace something that's a little bit more fun about you? You can be daring and bold and dashy without disrespecting yourself, violating your boundaries, violating your standards. But you need to kind of take yourself out on those recovery dates so you can practice it independently, so you have that fun ready for you when you go on to the next relationship. And you will feel like a new person because you give yourself these opportunities, which are giving you the chance to look and see what healthy people are doing. It gives you the chance to observe. It gives you the chance to be mindful of your own feelings while you're out and about. What happens if I go and get myself a coffee or an ice cream or, something that you would traditionally share, or a movie, and see how I can then be there for myself in those moments and get used to that. Even if it seems a little odd, it's because it's a very therapeutic experience, and it gets you out of your comfort zone. It gets you out of the rut, the routine, because to really go out and have fun, you need to be open to making adjustments to your routine. Where you usually do things, this is where I usually sit and fall on the couch, or I make dinner, or I slump over here, or I just, do this and this online browsing or whatever. Begin to find some activities if you can. It doesn't have to be huge, weekend trips for yourself. It can just start with a baby step, even if it's taking 20 minutes, a half an hour, and just dedicating that time to your recovery date, meaning it has a specific intention that you can then, reach and find yourself and explore, and then know that you have this outlet for yourself. It will do wonders, because you'll then begin to see yourself as recovered, whole, complete, and then having fun. And you'll have a whole new countenance or look about you. And that is what I'm excited for you for. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.